Hello, ladies and gents, and welcome back to the Tartan Stand, another European review. Another positive week, I will say. Obviously, Kyle here, the Mullow fan, isn't here, so I'm going to be discussing Mullow a wee bit briefly. So if I say something wrong, then just shoot me, I guess. But I did watch the full 90 minutes for the Mullow game, and I actually thought they were actually decent, against a Freiburg team that would probably be the whipping every other Scottish team, maybe barring Celtic if in a one-off game. Obviously took the lead, first early doors, obviously caught them off cold. I think if they did lose by 2-1, I think maybe if they did that next week, they could have got back into the game. Unfortunately, they get a killer blow at the end of the game. For the referee was utterly abysmal. He just wanted to try and make a scenario happen for the Freiburg team. Obviously, Moorman did get sent off for the penalty, which I thought that shouldn't be the case because of the new double whammy rule. Again, it's football and we don't really know the rules, but they had a decent day out. Obviously, hold in Freiburg at Fir Park. Go away to Germany. Get drunk with the lads. I think that can only be the best case scenario in case a miracle does happen. But obviously, that's just a wee bit of the Mullow side out the way. How well doing, lads, for you is there?
Aye, all good.
All good.
All good.
Good.
All good.
Chris, the last time you were on, we kind of spoke about Celtic. There was a wee bit of negativity. They only made the sign of Duran. What was your thoughts on the game on Tuesday night? Because I thought it was a brilliant performance.
Yeah, I thought to a man, they were absolutely fantastic. I think the biggest word I can describe it was a refreshing performance. We looked at the Europa League games last season against the likes of Braga. They were flat. There wasn't much atmosphere. There was negativity on the pitch. There was negativity off the pitch. You look at the new signings that have come in Hu and Duran. And Bauer, who I thought all the new signings played absolutely fantastic. Obviously, Duran got 2 cracking goals. Who could have had a couple? Negrin obviously got his goal. I just thought it was a really refreshing performance. It was a really good performance. Couple of scares defensively still. I think it's not a complete project by any means, but yeah, overall fantastic performance and. It was good. It was great to see a good performance, good atmosphere. It was almost like a United on the pitch, off the pitch for the first time in a long time. I thought the other day.
I actually want to speak in the defensive side of things because obviously it was a wee bit iffy, especially at the start. They had 2 quick offside goals. I think the first offside goal was absolutely cracking. If any of you've seen it, Colby Donovan. But in the past last season. I'll put my hands up and admit saying, is this guy going to be the Celtic level of calibre, But I thought, in a game against LASK, he was outstanding to a man. It probably could have got at least 2 assists in the first half with the passes he did to Duran. So do you think this is maybe a step up for Colby Donovan to be like, Arthur Johnson is obviously the first name in the team sheet for the right back position, but do you think Colby Donovan can step up and be like, that's actually mine?
I think if you can turn in performances like that week in, week out, I think he can. Obviously, Alistair Johnson's picked up an injury, so he's going to be out for however long this injury lasts. And I think I'd like to say Martin stuck him at one side and says, right, come on, this is now your chance to show that you belong in this position. And I thought the other night it was absolutely fantastic. It was probably the best performance I've seen him putting in a Celtic shirt. His work rate was fantastic. His passing, his pressing was brilliant. Yeah, absolutely brilliant performance of the night. And as you said, he could have had a couple of assists. But yeah, absolutely outstanding performance. On the defensive side of things, I think Carter Vickers is still looking a bit slow, a bit sluggish. Obviously, he got outpaced for that second offside goal, which was a bit worrying. I thought Trusty had an all right game, yeah. Scales came on late in the game. But yeah, there's a couple of defensive frailties, I think, still to work out. But yeah, if Donovan can produce performances like that, I think we'll be all right at right back. He's just got to do it consistently now.
I think the Chelsea lad is coming into Celtic tonight. I think he had a minor injury at Chelsea. That's why I never got the paperwork over the line. But Darren, we'll go over to you for the Hibs side of things. Obviously, nothing each. I kind of spoke about it on a preview that this is a game where Hibs can draw or get scudded. It just depends on the Hibs that comes up. Would you have taken nothing each before the start of the time?
100%. I mean, I predicted a 2-0 defeat last week, so I thought we were excellent at the back, excellent in the middle of the park. Kind of seemed like the whole game, you wouldn't have been wrong to think that we were the home team last night. The way the game went, probably wasn't a lot of attacking threat. We did have our chances. We missed that penalty, which was a bit gutting. They weren't anything special whatsoever, and I think we've probably built them up to be something they're definitely not. I mean, their best player probably last night was that Wilson, who came on, who was at Falkirk last year. He came on. He actually looked like he had something about him. Outside of that, like we dominated. Like I can't really think of like clear-cut chances that they had last night. Like right across the back were excellent. Like Paslak and Mayer were getting forward a lot of the time. Even Chaiwa was. I mean, I've said on a few times saying, he can be hot and cold. I thought he was excellent last night. Brilliant. Low, I didn't think got a touch of the ball the whole night, but put in some shift and just running. He just kept on dragging their defenders back and forward and back and forward. So there's a bit of me that's a bit disappointed that we never actually come back with a win last night. But if you give me a 0-0 before the game, I would 100% take it.
You know, I think Owen Eld, I think I said last week, he's going to have an outstanding season, but you're a bit disappointed that Josh Campbell never took it, especially he took the penalty at Ibrox. Should the captain not be stepping in and be like, no, it's Josh Campbell's? Like, I know Owen Eld didn't want to take it, he's got the confidence, and that's a great positive to have, but I'm not saying that miss is going to, you know, it could come back to bite Hibs in the arse. We also don't know yet. But should Josh Campbell be taking that penalty?
It was a strange one. I have no idea why, like, because he's not taking any of the penalties. Well, I think we've had a couple of penalties this season so far, and he doesn't seem like a penalty taker. Do you know, sometimes you can look at him and go like, yeah, he's a finisher, but he's just not a penalty taker. Especially, I mean, the commentator mentioned last night that their goalkeeper has actually got a brilliant record of saving penalties. I think they got through one of their previous ties on penalties. It was just a strange move, especially with Campbell taking the penalty at Ibrox. Maybe that had something to do with it. Maybe because he took that penalty, they were wanting to throw them off. I mean, I'm not saying it was a poor penalty. It was on target. It was a great save for the keeper, but it was like one of them where it was just the perfect height for a keeper to save. So, I mean, I would even have put like lower Mulligan up before I'd put Eldon up to take that penalty. So it is a bit. I read a comment today actually, which is probably true, that like if we'd scored that penalty, it probably would have been a game that we would have lost. It just seemed like one of the games that like we maybe would have sat in a little bit more, invited them onto us more. So maybe it was a blessing in disguise that we missed the penalty and it kept the game quite even. And again, we weren't in danger the whole night.
To be fair, I actually heard the commentary as well. I actually think he's only one of the few goalkeepers to actually save more penalties than has conceded, which is obviously a remarkable start. But Josh, we'll go to the heart side of things. And what's your thoughts on the game? Because we obviously seen Rapid Vienna last season against Dundee United. I wasn't too much impressed with them last season. But this season, they look like a new kettle of fish. You know, they're battering teams left, right, and centre in Austria. Is this a good draw for Hearts, or do you thinking maybe it would have been a wee bit more favourable walking away with that victory and hanging on to that goal lead over in Austria?
I think we've definitely made it hard for ourselves in the second leg. First half, we just weren't there. No one switched on. Kabore was all over the place, and I'm sure every Hearts fan can agree with me. I'd like to see him on the bench from now on. To be honest, I don't even want to see him on the bench. I think we came out the first half weak. We never looked up for it. We were lacking confidence. Defensively, we were open. Roos and McEntee had to basically scrape us out of the dirt multiple times. Roos he's a brilliant keeper, brilliant shot stopper. He's good with his feet as well, and those are the keepers that you need in big games. And I think he played his part. But defensively, another set piece lets us down, and that needs sorted. We've got the players who can stick ahead on the ball. I just don't understand why we're just letting players have such space in the box. And we reacted late to the corner as well. You could see Kabori was like, what's happening here? Lets them have a short corner, space outside on the edge of the box, and it was just a dink in the box for a simple header. It was something you see on a training ground, and I feel like I'm seeing that way too often. Hearts switching off, and then second half we come up on top, get 2 goals, we're 2-1 up. I'm thinking, okay, maybe we can go and score a third. It kind of felt like we sat back. I don't know if Vienna just changed something or if we sat back, but I think coming out with a draw is actually kind of gutting, because I feel like in the second half when we were 2-1 up, we should have went and gone and tried to score that third goal, take it two goal advantage to the next leg, and it would have been perfect.
Is that a caveat? But because obviously when we were speaking after the first leg in Graz, that we said maybe he should have just hauled back, take the 2-0 defeat and try and work towards something at Tynecastle. Do you feel, I know it finished 2 each, but if he went for that third goal and then they scored it, it's a 2 each draw, do you think you'd be saying something different, or would you think and be like, you know what, he did the right situation still?
I would have said he would done the right thing, because going away from home, basically 0-0, it's not going to be easy. I think it's made it harder for us, and well, obviously it has, but I think it's put that little bit more pressure on us that we never needed. And don't get me wrong, I don't think we were really in the game for about 60 minutes of the game. There was about 30 minutes of the game where I was like, okay, we can maybe go on and score here. But in the second leg, we need to see more. I think the starting lineup was fine. I just think individually players were lacking. We had Renault, he was quite quiet, even though I've rated him all season so far. Braga, I think he was quite quiet. But then you've got McPake, brilliant. The way he runs at players is brilliant. He's not scared to take on anyone, gets past them bloody 95% of the time, and he's a brilliant player. Miller, I think he's an amazing player, but I don't know if he's getting played in the right positions either. I want to see him further up. I'm seeing him back too often, I would say, too often for my liking. And I don't know what Walter's going on there, but I think for the second leg, a few changes need to be made in the starting lineup. Even though I said it was fine, Kabori cannot start. That's the big one. Kabori cannot start. I want to see Wilson start. What a goal from him, by the way. That's up his transfer value about £5 million, in my opinion. But what a goal.
Brian, we'll go to the Rangers side of things. You were a wee bit scunnered last week. See, after the 5-1 win against St Mirren, is this performance kind of brought back the negativity for Rangers?
It was a good performance, but it wasn't good enough. I still think we need to up our game. But a win's a win.
There's always been a lot of talk about Fernandes in Rangers.
Jesus.
He did an Instagram story, something like Todd Cantwell would do.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the situation at the back of Rangers is you need to bring in someone before you can let him go. But in your mind, you just want to let him go because it looks like he's only playing for himself rather than the team.
I'll take a 20 million and I'll pay for his taxi. He'll be a while by the end of next week. Fernandes has lost his confidence. I don't give it to William, but he has.
Has he lost his confidence, or do you just think he just doesn't care? I think he doesn't care. I think that's totally different. I think he thinks he's outgrown Rangers.
I was at the Hibs game. The Hibs game when we lost, unfortunately. He couldn't care. He went back up to the fans when the ball was gone past him. He went back up. I went, really? And maybe not say Ben Goffrey will start next Thursday. He will start in defence.
Are you confident the Rangers will finish job over in Czech Republic, or do you think this could be like another progress where it's crap performance? Because let's be honest, this team isn't that great. I know Celtic played them a good few years ago in the Bethlem. Obviously, everything can change in 45 years, but they're usually a team that finishes 5th and 6th in the Czech League. Usually, if that's a team in that type of league, you're thinking Celtic and Rangers should scud them. Is it a worry for you going to Czech Republic with a 1-0 lead?
if he gets a team right, we'll win easy. He cannot play Ndidi. He needs to play Shankland. Is he unfit? He's a club captain. He has to play the club captain name. Because I'm going to be nasty. Shankland's the best striker in Scotland last year. He's not getting a game now. I can't lie. If it's wrong with him.
The problem with Shankland is, but he needs to play with a two. And the Rangers fans are crying out that they don't want to play with a two. So if you play Shankland as a lone striker, I don't think that's going to work for Rangers. And I think that's why he is starting the Dairy until he gets the players to play 4-4-2. But that's obviously a board problem. So what is the problem with the Dairy? Because he has scored 2 and 2. Do you just not rate him at all?
I do rate him, but I prefer Shankland because I can't Shankland can do. Ndidi doesn't run. Ndidi just hugs the ball up. Shankland would run. I want to see Shankland fit in for Hearts. Need Shankland now. And like if it's happened, I really want to ken why the club captain's only getting 4 minutes in a home game. Surely he gets more than 4 minutes in a game. That's my problem.
Obviously, we will go back to the maybe why, because obviously Cammy Devlin did get sent off, but we'll go back to that. Chris, I want to go back to this, the Celtic performance. Celtic's linked with a Bosnian midfielder who looks absolutely quality. I'm not going to try and pronounce his name because I'll definitely butcher it. There hasn't been any link so far, but you scared that this board is going to do one in, one out, and Nygren could potentially be leaving Celtic at the end of this transfer window?
I think that's the worry, isn't it? That Nygren's attracting a lot of attention. You can see why. It was fantastic last year. His goal the other night was just sensational. I think his overall play was fun, was great, and he's become a real key player in that midfield. Yeah, I think if the board were to do that 1 in, 1 out, I don't think there'd be many that would be happy about it. To be honest with you, I think Nygren is somebody we need to keep, and I think it's somebody we need to potentially either just try and get as many years as we can out of him, because ultimately I kind of feel like we've seen a pattern emerging in the last 10 plus years in Scottish football that we get the odd really fantastic player that then wants to go to the Premier League or go to the Championship, and it's almost just like a revolving door kind of thing. We saw it recently again with Maeda. He's got to Ipswich, but I think I'd be worried about losing Nygren if we get this new midfielder coming in. But he's certainly not someone I want to lose. I would want to keep him, certainly.
Why does some Celtic fans still have a big mass of what if for Nygren?
I don't get it myself. I'm struggling to understand it, because I've seen him have bad games. I've seen him have all right games, but he always just seems to pop up when we need him with a cracking goal or a cracking contribution. I'm one of these. I can't understand why he's not as I won't say revered, but I can't understand why there's still an air of negativity about him. He's relatively consistent in the games I've seen him play. And obviously, look at that the other night. He was absolutely crucial the other night against LASK. And it was crucial last year, last season, especially the back end of the season. So I'm struggling to sort of answer that in a sense of, because I don't get it. I don't get why there's a negativity about him.
To be fair, I wanted to ask you that question because I'm in the same boat as you. I was speaking to a Celtic fan thinking maybe just use work rate off the ball. Like, see, we're trying to scrap at barrels, but I'm in the same boat as you. I have absolutely no idea. But with the second leg, Celtic heading over to Austria, we did see LASK threaten a few times. I think they actually had more shots, albeit maybe there was some straight at Sinisal, who again, I think he had a cracking game, did a brilliant save as well near the end. Are you confident about the second leg that the tie's over, or do you think you still want to get that early goal to definitely put it to bed?
I think an early goal would be vital. I think an early goal would definitely kill it as a tie. We know Celtic's record away in Europe is pretty abysmal. We got that win against PSV in Rotterdam under Martin O'Neill, which was, again, that was probably one of the best away performances I've seen in a long time. But overall, our record's pretty grim away from home in Europe. So there's that worry there that we'll do a somewhat typical modern day Celtic job and concede 4, and get a bit of a thumping. But no, if we can perform like we did the other night, I'm confident we could see it through. I'm confident. I know they're a very good side, LASK. Like was it they lost like 2 games in the last X amount of time. So yeah, it's gonna be incredibly tough. They're a very well drilled team. And obviously they're playing at home in a ground and a pitch they know very well. So yeah, nervous for next week, but confident we can see it through.
Obviously, with the Celtic away record, it is obviously quite poor, but I do think for the 3 games that Martin O'Neill came in for, we did beat Feyenoord, drew with Bologna, and obviously beat Stuttgart. So maybe it is a turning corner. So, but yeah, talking about, going away, obviously Hibs was away there in Thursday night, obviously at home at Easter Road. Is Hibs favourites for this time?
Don't know if they're favourites, but I would certainly have bitten your hand off for this opportunity. If you told me at the end of last season where we sneaked a European spot, finishing 5th at the end of the season, and now a few months later we're going into a one-off, like a cup final basically at home, that we've got extra time at home if it goes to extra time. We are sold at Easter Road. I would have bitten your hand off for this, and especially now after seeing Gent last night, there is absolutely nothing to worry about with this team. I mean, I'm saying that now. They might come. They've obviously still got something about them, but there's nothing to fear there. There definitely isn't nothing to fear. Anything can happen on a European night, I suppose, but I think we're in an excellent position.
There's actually not been spoken about enough the past 2 away performances for Hibs. The Nothing each draw in North Macedonia, 30-odd degrees, against a team that has actually done decent last season in the Conference League, then going to Belgium against Gent, albeit I said last week that I think people kind of confuse them for Genk, but they're still obviously a good mid-table team in Belgium who probably finish 3rd or even 2nd in the Scottish League. So if we're going back-to-back away, getting 2 back-to-back clean sheets, I think it's starting to show maturity for Hibs. But I do think in Thursday, Hibs need to grab the opportunity, because this is 3 years in a row they've got to the playoffs. First season, we'll take account out that because they did play Aston Villa. That's like Mull playing Freiburg, massive gulf in quality.
Aye.
But Hibs need to kick on as a club. I feel if they don't, there'll always be that stagnant team. It's a what if, and I think this is a real opportunity for David Gray to obviously capitalise on something. And maybe I actually like your thoughts, just Darren. Is David Gray the Steve Clark situation for Scotland, where he gets the results, but maybe the performances aren't always there? What's your thoughts on that tweet? I kind of want to get your opinion on that.
What was that? Sorry, you broke up just a wee bit about when you were saying about David Gray and Steve Clark.
That a Hibs fan said David Gray is basically the Steve Clark of Scotland, where he gets the results, but the performances aren't always the good.
I've said that previously. Like last night wasn't pretty. Last week wasn't pretty when we were away from home. Last week was worse, to be fair. I thought we played. It was a better game to watch last night. Who cares if you're coming out with the results? And if you take away that terrible game, the first European game away from home, he's had a cracking start to the season. Fair enough, we got beat by Motherwell 2-1, but still played really, really well in that game. And you're just looking at this going, 100% right, we have to grab this opportunity. It's going to become even harder in future seasons to even qualify for Europe. You're going to need to finish in the top 3 in the league just to even get in these qualifying stages. We know, looking at the other clubs, how difficult it could be with the draws like Motherwell got Freiburg. I caught a bit at the end of the Hearts game last night. Obviously, the Hibs game was finished earlier, and I watched the last 15 minutes. Even just Rapid Vienna, initially you'd be looking at that going, that's a good draw. I thought they were really good as well. They looked much better than Kent, which I'd just watched. So I think it's getting harder and harder. This is the season that we have to. We're never going to have a better chance than next Thursday. So we need the money, especially if obviously Hearts have still got a great chance. Then Rangers get in. Obviously, Motherwell, they're not going to get through. But you have to then keep up with the pack. If this is our third chance, we have to take it this time. It might write off the season. It might then if we get in, we'll have to bring in a few more players. Absolutely. I think he's working with a squad, a proper squad of like playing players of like 13, 14, 15 players now. We're going to need to just strengthen a wee bit if we get in. But hey, let's worry about that once we get in.
We have jumped 2 places in the coefficient ranking, which is also good. I think we've jumped ahead of Austria and Sweden. And I think if Celtic, Rangers, Hearts, and Hibs, I'm not going to say Mill because I agree, I think they're out qualified, be the first team since 1989 that all 4 clubs can go through. So, yeah, we aren't massively behind. I know it looks really, really bad, but I feel if we do all qualify, and I think if Celtic get to the round of 24, maybe Rangers and at least Hearts or Hibs get to, the playoff round as well. I actually think we jump up to 15th, which goes back to 4 teams rather than 3 teams, which again isn't the greatest, but it's still a step in the right direction. But Josh, we'll go back to Hearts. You said this a wee bit of the start changing the starting lineup for the second leg. Would the Hearts need to do differently because it is also going to be a much harder task over in Vienna?
I think we're still trying to figure out what to do with the defense first. I think offensively we're okay. We are lacking a final pass. So maybe I'm also seeing reports of this JJ Williams bloke coming in.
Yeah.
I would like to see him come in. I'd like to see what he has to offer, because we are lacking that person who can just bring it, like just someone like Shankland who can score from nothing. Don't get me wrong, we saw it yesterday with Wilson, but that's the first time I've seen it from Wilson. He's a 19-year-old boy and he's got plenty of potential, and I'd love to see him start as many games as possible for Hearts. But next week, it's just about the defence. If we can manage a 0-0 draw just like Hibs, take it through to penalties, that's perfect. That's like a dream come true. But I don't want to say that and then watch Hearts go full on defensive, lose 4-0, 5-0, because I wouldn't be surprised if I did see that. But I don't know exactly what Walter is doing as well. We've had so many different captains. I mean, we've had McCart as captain, we've had Spittle as captain. It's meant to be Halkett. Obviously, he's injured. We've had Milne as captain. Who else have we had as captain? Probably Walter himself has been captain. Like, you know what I mean? We're struggling to find a captain, someone who's going to hold the line. So I think that's also another step that we need to take. Who's gonna take responsibility and be a leader? Spittle's doing okay. I praise him quite well. I think he's a brilliant player. He has his off days, don't get me wrong, we all do. But we need to find that captain material who's gonna hold us together, proper go at it, show the players what kind of game we're in, and take us to the Conference League.
You kind of deal with a bit of the next question about James Wilson. Do you know the guy's obviously built up massively? Do you not think, obviously, as a young lad, and you don't obviously want to rely on him too much, but you've seen him with his second goal, that guy can maybe start to do something out of nothing. How would you feel if he led the line for Hearts throughout the season? Would that be something you're comfortable with, or would you still want, maybe Hearts like the JJ Williams to start over him?
I would still want Williams to start over him, but that doesn't mean I don't want to see Wilson at all. Like last season, we never saw him. I know we were having an amazing season. We never really wanted to change what we had, but I want to see him starting more games. I want to see him coming off the bench in more games. He needs more minutes to develop. And if the more minutes he gets, the more confident he gets, the better he gets. I mean, even in the space of a year, he's a bigger boy. I mean, you can tell the difference in 1 year, in 1 year's growth from him. A couple of years ago, he was a twig, and now he's actually starting to build himself up. You can see the strength is starting to come in him. Don't get me wrong, he's still a wee bit of a pushabout, but that's something he can work on definitely. Yesterday is an amazing confidence booster for the lad. I think after yesterday, he's going to go on and do brilliant things. Maybe not score 20, 30 goals in one season, don't get me wrong. I mean, I would love to see it, but I think this is a great start of the season for him, especially him scoring against Inverness on the weekend as well. I think things are starting to show for him. And if Williams does come, it doesn't mean that I want Wilson to just sit and rot on the bench. I want to see Wilson maybe even behind Williams or in front of Williams. I don't really care. As long as it works, I want to see Wilson on.
Brian, we will go over to Rangers. I want to talk about Cammy Devlin. You know, the guy's trying to start and the Kung Fu Panda man. The guy tried to break the guy's leg. Honestly, what's worse, Cammy Devlin doing that or Derek McInnes bring Cammy Devlin on when you're only 1-0 up?
Derek McInnes bringing them on. Why? We've got Askard on the bench, we've got Conor Bannon on the bench. Why are you taking players that come on and score goals? Cammy Devlin can't do that. Maybe a nasty. I didn't rate Cammy Devlin. I didn't rate him. I didn't want him in my club. I didn't want him.
Do you think Derek McInnes is bringing the likes of Cammy Devlin on just because he was with Hearts last season, rather than being like, you know what, these players like Asgard, who I do feel is obviously better than Cammy Devlin, albeit sometimes he feels like he needs a kick up the arse to actually start playing. Do you think that's going to be a problem going into the future with Rangers? Like he's going to prefer the likes of like Cammy Devlin, maybe Shankland if he's like still out of form, over the players just actually performing on the pitch?
I think if Derek McInnes hits a save, he would mark Cammy Devlin captain. That's how bad it is. I did not want Cammy Devlin. I would have him on the bench if we're 4-0 up and come on and bite back, but we're never going to be 4-0 up in a game. But I would hear Cammy Devlin as like a sub for like a cup game or something, but no. I would have hit Conor Bannon.
There's obviously talks between Rangers, I think, is actually going to happen. They're spending €10 million on a Girona winger. Are you interested to see how that one develops? Do you think he'll be a good player for Rangers, or do you think you'd rather spend that money in Tierney, who's been obviously proven at Rangers?
Well, he said no to Rangers tonight.
That was a fake Turkish outlet. I don't know if that's even true, man. That guy talks all the piss at Ekram, guy. Whatever.
Well, the boy farmer linked to his playing tonight in Spain. He's playing. I think he's on the bench on playing. So I don't care. But far we getting his players, is McInnes actually the main man going, I want his players? Because I may be nasty. I've never heard this man in my life. I'm not going to say his name because I'll mix it up. But no, I don't think McInnes is he's the man that's said I want his player. I think it's the board. Like people's going like we can get for 10 million.
McInnes does say in an interview, I think he was after the 2-1 defeat against Hibs, that he is the man that gets the final call. Do you believe that?
No.
Absolutely. Is that not a huge problem then?
Oh, yes. We had it with Danny Rowe. He was at the Hearts game, he wanted leaders. And then Gerrard said that he wanted players when the board said no. No, I've no way McInnes is gone. I want players in my squad. Like Cammy Devlin. There's no way. No way.
Well, we will do a quick recap then. Chris, obviously next Tuesday, Celtic go to Austria. It's your score prediction. I think you're on mute or I can't hear you.
Sorry. I think we'll go through, or I think Celtic will go through overall, but LASK being as good as they are, I think they'll win 2-1 on the night.
See if that does happen. I want to do a follow-up question. Is this Celtic team capable of competing in the Champions League phase if they're still worried about the likes of LASK?
I think next week will definitely be the test of it. I see are we ready, we're not. If we can get the job done with a draw or even a win, then I think that'll show that we are. If we can go through regardless of win, lose or draw, it's a tough one because I think it all depends on obviously the draw you get at the end of the day. But this would be the year that they need to make the most of the home form, try and get some games away. I don't quite think we're the finished article yet in terms of Champions League football, but it's looking a lot more promising than I think it has in the last couple of seasons.
Josh, you also go to Vienna. What is your score prediction?
3-2 Hearts.
Oh, outscoring.
I'm going with it. I think yesterday we never played well for 60 minutes. if we turn up, we score more goals. Our defense still isn't there, so I still see us conceding a couple of goals. But I want to say Hearts wins. I need to stay confident with the team. Our away record is abysmal. I don't think we've won one this season, or even drawn one this season. But it's going to happen next Wednesday.
I don't want to. I know my answer is going to be no because the teams you came up against. But if Hearts get packed out of 3 competitions without actually qualifying for any of them, is it embarrassing?
Aye, 100%. I think you need to look at the teams that we've played as well, and be like, okay, it was difficult, but then also looking at the results, then you're like, okay, it is embarrassing. I mean, when I heard that we had a chance of not making it to Europe, I was shocked. Coming second place and not even getting guaranteed Conference League football, I was completely shocked because it was only a couple of years ago we came third and got guaranteed Conference League football. So it's just, I think it is embarrassing if we don't go through. But then you look at the teams we've played, you can't really. We need to just let it go in the past.
Darren, you're obviously at home to Gent. What is your score prediction?
Bit scared to say this because my predictions have been pished so far. So, but I'm going to go with a 1-0, a sticky 1-0. I reckon we could do it. I reckon he'll just sit up and he'll be tight at the back, just looking for the opportunities. And I think the game will create more opportunities next week. You'll maybe see a few changes. Josh Campbell, I can't see him starting next week. I think there's a part of me that's saying, well, do you know what? We're actually in this position and we're so fortunate to get here. We've done really well to get through 2 ties, by the way, to get to this. So it's well deserved. But to now be at this stage, I think there's maybe the optimism's caught on there. So I'm going to go for a 1-0 win. But just before you go on, we were saying, the teams that Hearts played here to get through, obviously Rapid Vienna and to an extent, obviously Sturm Graz, Hibs playing Gent. If we want Scottish teams, if we want to be back up at in the top 15 in the coefficient, these are clubs that we should really be giving ourselves a chance against. We should be competing with similar size clubs. Don't get me wrong, they've got more money, but similar size clubs in Austria and to an extent Belgium. You know what I mean? We really should be putting up more of a fight against these clubs. We've seen it with Hibs over many years, which we've known. Probably this is Hearts done that they've had a really hard time of it. But I just truly believe we should be same way Rangers getting through. It should be a breeze for Celtic to get through against these clubs, and I think that's why we're sitting 18th in the rankings.
Yep. Brian, obviously you played Jablonec in Czech Republic. What is your score prediction going to be?
2-0, Shankland double.
Oh,
So I take
2 penalties.
I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you, Brian, what changes would you make?
Shanklin. I would play Finlay Curtis. I would play him. I would take an Oscar Barkin, Ben Goffley. That would be it. 3 changes, 3 or 4. But
right,
that would be mine.
Well, thank you so much. So you got something else to say? You can carry on.
No.
Well, thank you so much, lads, for coming on. Please hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that follow button on Spotify. It's genuinely very much appreciated. And now I'll see you all for the next video.